Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking you through the difference between becoming an LPC or an MFT. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of jargon and I'm going to break it down for you. An LPC is a licensed professional counselor. That's what I am. So you will see this written in variations. So either LPC, LPCC, or LPCC-S, which means you are a supervisor that is like the highest ranking, I guess you could say, for a licensed professional counselor. Now, an MFT is a marriage and family therapist. And you will also see that written as an LMFT, which is a licensed marriage and family therapist. So similar to how, the LPC works. So hopefully I haven't lost you yet. This is why I need to make this video. It confuses even me, and I'm in the field. So if you're new here, my name is Alyssa Powers. I created this channel to teach you the things that grad school didn't so you can thrive as a mental health professional. I'm so glad you're here. I got a question in one of my other videos about the difference between becoming an LPC and an MFT, and I was like, this is a great video idea because it confuses even me, and I've been in the field for many years. So I wanted to break it down from my perspective. This is just my opinion. Honestly, these are both great career paths, and really they are pretty much the same thing. I'm just gonna put that out there now. Like, if you become an LPC or an MFT, you're doing talk therapy most likely. Now, the major difference that I see, there's two things. One is obviously a marriage and family therapist is going to have their coursework focus more on marriage and family therapy. So I was just looking up the degree requirements to become an MFT, like what you would actually go through in grad school. And it looked like every class pretty much had a focus for family, couples, relationships, just a lot more of that focus. But also I saw things that are just reminiscent of our field, like addictions coursework, trauma coursework, like it's very, very similar. I think it just has the lens of marriage and family therapy. Now, an LPC is going to be a little bit more general. Like, for instance, I took an elective course. I think we could choose 3 electives in my coursework, and it was things like addictions counseling, adolescents, children, couples, families. Those were the options. And so I chose to study, I did addictions, I did family therapy, and I think I did couples as well. So within my coursework, I was still able to have that focus on families and couples, which is kind of funny because I don't even work with families and couples. I've done probably pretty much 0 family counseling, and I did work with couples when I was first starting out, and I hated it. It's a lot of work. But if you know that you want to work with couples, like you want to be a marriage counselor, by all means, getting your MFT would make way more sense and would help you to be more specialized. Okay, so before I get into a whole other thing, the second thing I wanted to say about like the major difference is based on what state you are in. So in Ohio, where I am, most people are getting their LPC. That is just like the most widely accepted degree around here. If you go to California, it's way more common to be an MFT. I don't know why that is. Like, both of these degrees are accepted all across the US. You don't need to worry about it not translating if you end up moving. But I do think that it can pigeonhole you in terms of maybe finding a job, but definitely finding a supervisor. Because if you're an MFT and you live in California and then you move to Ohio, you need to find a supervisor that's also an MFT, and that would be way harder up here versus in California, vice versa. If you're an LPC, you go there, it's going to be hard to find someone to supervise you. I think in terms of finding an actual job, it's probably pretty comparable, but you do need to remember when you're pre-licensed, you need to be under supervision even at your workplace. So it could be hard, honestly, to find an MFT like at a big private practice or an agency or whatever you're looking into. So I would personally go with what degree is most popular in your state, especially if you know, like for me, I'm going to live in Ohio for the foreseeable future. This is where I grew up. This is where all my family is. I don't think I'll ever practice anywhere else, but some people know that they're going to be moving around either for their spouse's work or they're a military family, or they just know that they want to move somewhere else. That makes it a little more difficult. Then I would just go with like, what are you truly passionate about? Do you want to work with couples and families? Do you want that lens to all your grad school coursework? Because if that's not important to you, then, you know, I would really recommend, I loved going through school to get my licensed professional counseling degree. So that's my 2 cents on that. I think that they are both great. I also think that when I've heard people say as well, because I was going through some Reddit threads about this before I made this video, that MFTs make more money than LPCs, and I do not think that's true. I think that potentially it looks that way because MFTs might be more popular in higher cost of living states. So like the average for a therapist in California is probably higher. Salary for them is higher than Ohio because they have a much higher cost of living in California than we do in little old Ohio. So I think that it's very, very comparable. And if you are a therapist who's thinking about being in private practice, then really it's up to you what you're going to make, unless you want to panel with insurances. So having a specialty is actually like the best thing you can do. So I hope that this video makes sense and is helpful. And if you are an MFT and you want to give some insight into it in the comments, I would love that, because like I said, I'm an LPCCS. I don't really know any MFTs up here. All my therapist friends are pretty much LPCs. And that's just what I'm used to, but it's a super valid question, especially now that these online, courses are maybe becoming more popular, where like you could go and get your degree online. And so if they're offering both clinical mental health counseling programs and the marriage and family therapy program, it's kind of like, okay, well, how do you decide this? So I hope that gives you insight. And if you liked this video, it would be so helpful if you subscribed. I am going to make more videos in 2024 all about the ins and outs of what it's like to be a therapist, grad school tips, helpful things to fill your private practice. I have so many ideas, and I just need my son to keep napping so I have time to make these videos. But okay, well, Happy New Year, everyone, and thanks so much for being here. Bye.